Moffett Federal Airfield, Moffett Federal Airfield, IATA, NUC, ICAO NUC, FAA LID, NUC, also known as Moffett Field, is a joint civil-military airport located in an unincorporated part of Santa Clara County, California, United States, between northern Mountain View and northern Sunnyvale. On November 10, 2014, NASA announced that it would be leasing 1,000 acres 400 ha of the airfield property to Google for 60 years. The airport is near the south end of San Francisco Bay, northwest of San Jose. Formerly a U.S. Navy facility, the former Naval Air Station is now owned and operated by the NASA Ames Research Center. Tenant military activities include the 129th Rescue Wing of the California Air National Guard, operating the HC-130J Combat King Roman II and HH-60G Pave Hawk aircraft, as well as the adjacent headquarters for the 7th Psychological Operations Group of the U.S. Army Reserve. Until 28 July 2010, the U.S. Air Force's 21st Space Operations Squadron was also a tenant command at Moffett Field, occupying the former Onizuka Air Force Station. In addition to these military activities, NASA also operates several of its own aircraft from Moffett. Hangars 1, 2, and 3, and the adjacent Shenandoah Plaza are collectively designated as a National Historic District listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Hangar One is one of the world's largest freestanding structures, covering 8 acres 32,002. The hangar was constructed in 1931. Hangar One is a Naval Historical Monument, Historic American Engineering Record C-335, State of California, Historic Civil Engineering Landmarks. In May 2008, the National Trust for Historic Preservation listed Hangar One on their list of America's most endangered places. Hangar 2 and Hangar 3 are some of the world's largest freestanding wood structures. The hangars were constructed when the U.S. Navy established 10 lighter-than-air bases across the United States during World War II as part of the Coastal Defense Plan. 7 of the original 17 of these wooden hangars still exist, 2 at Moffett Field, 2 at Tustin, California, 1 at Tillamook, Oregon, and 2 at Lakehurst, New Jersey. The adjacent NASA Ames Research Center is also home to several wind tunnels, including the Unitary Plan Wind Tunnel, a National Historic Landmark. History. Sunnyvale operations. In 1930, the city of Sunnyvale acquired a 1,000-acre 4.0 km2 parcel of farmland bordering San Francisco Bay, paid for with nearly $480,000, equivalent to $7,436,175 in 2020, raised by the citizens of Santa Clara County. The location proved to be ideal for an airport, since the area is often clear while other parts of the San Francisco Bay are covered in fog. This is due to the Coast Range to the west, which blocks the cold oceanic air that is the cause of San Francisco fog. Naval operations. The Naval Air Station NAS was authorized by an act of Congress signed by President Herbert Hoover on 12 February 1931. Construction of the original facilities was begun 8 July 1931. The base was originally named Airbase Sunnyvale CAL, as it was thought that calling it Mountain View would cause officials to fear airships colliding with mountainsides. The original station was commissioned on 12 April 1933 and dedicated NAS Sunnyvale. After the death of Rear Admiral William A. Moffett, who is credited with the creation of the airfield, in the loss of the USS Akron on 4 April 1933, the airfield at NAS Sunnyvale was renamed NAS Moffett Field on 1 September 1933. After the crashing of the Macken on 12 February 1935, the Navy wanted to close Moffett Field due to its high cost of operations. Also, in San Diego, the Army and Navy were having jurisdictional issues over North Island in San Diego Harbor, which had both NAS San Diego as well as the Army's Rockwell Field dividing the island. The Navy wanted the Army out of North Island as it needed to expand NAS San Diego as a training airfield for its growing number of aircraft carrier pilots. The Army resisted strongly, as Rockwell Field was a major training airfield for flight cadets and had been using the field for flight training since 1912. With the subtle assistance of President Franklin Roosevelt, a former Assistant Secretary of the Navy, a complex arrangement of facilities realignment was made by the War Department, which transferred Moffett to Army jurisdiction and Rockwell Field to the Navy in October 1935, becoming NAS North Island. Upon taking jurisdiction of Moffett Field, the Army took on the high cost of Hangar One's maintenance and wanted to inactivate the facility. However, President Roosevelt would not allow the closure of the facility, and the Army assigned Moffett to its Western Flying Training Command as headquarters for pilot and aircrew flight training west of the Rocky Mountains. Also in 1939, Moffett saw the establishment of the Ames Aeronautical Laboratory. As an aftermath of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, the Navy wanted to use the airship hangars at Moffett for blimp operations along with Pacific Coast. However, the Army, still stinging about having to transfer Rockwell Field to the Navy, resisted strongly. Again, the inter-service rivalry was overruled by the War Department, citing the Navy's need for coastal defense a priority, and ordered the Army to move its training headquarters to Hamilton Field in Marin County, north of San Francisco. On April 16, 1942, control of the facility was returned to the Navy, and it was recommissioned as NAS Sunnyvale. 4 days later, it was again renamed Naval Air Station Moffett Field. From the end of World War II until its closure, NAS Moffett Field saw the development and use of several generations of land-based anti-submarine warfare and maritime patrol aircraft, including the Lockheed P-2V Neptune and Lockheed P-3 Orion. Until the demise of the USSR and for some time thereafter, daily anti-submarine, maritime reconnaissance, fleet support, and various training sorties flew out from NAS Moffett Field to patrol along the Pacific coastline, while Moffett's other squadrons and aircraft periodically deployed to other Pacific, Indian Ocean, and Persian. The onset of the Korean War brought a restructuring of the Navy's disposition of air forces, resulting in several squadrons being transferred to the Moffett Field, as well as Naval Air Station Alameda. During the 1950s, the Moffett served as the fighter base, with Alameda hosting attack aircraft. Naval aircraft home based in Moffett included the F-9F Panther and F-3 Fury. By the end of the 1950s, however, the Navy was looking to consolidate assets as the majority of carrier-based aircraft. The majority of squadrons based at Moffett transferred to Naval Air Station Miramar when they transitioned to the F-8 Crusader, while attack aircraft from Alameda were relocated to the newly opened Naval Air Station Lemoore. By 1961, the last fighter aircraft had left Moffett Field. In 1960, the nearby Air Force Satellite Test Center STC was created adjacent to on the SE corner of NAS Moffett Field. Often referred to as the Blue Cube, it was operational until 2010 as Onizuka Air Force Station, now part of the Air Force Satellite Control Network AFSCON. In August 1986, during the NAS Moffett Field Air Show, the Italian demonstration team, Frex Tricolore, and the German Navy's F-104 flight demonstration team, the Vikings, performed in front of the crowd. At its peak in the 1990s, NAS Moffett Field was the U.S. Navy's principal Pacific Fleet base for the P-3C operations. In addition to headquarters staffs for Commander, U.S. Patrol Wings Pacific Fleet Compat Wing SPAC, Commander Patrol Wing 10 Compat Wing 10, and Commander Reserve Patrol Wing Pacific/Patrol Wing 4 Comrespat Wing Pac/Compat Wing 4, the air station also hosted Patrol Squadron 31 v P-31. The West Coast P-Ames Research Center operations. Post-Cold War defense cutbacks and related base realignment and closure bracket actions in the 1990s identified NAS Moffett Field for closure. The West Coast Fleet Replacement Squadron, Patrol Squadron 31 v P-31, was deactivated and its functions combined with its East Coast counterpart, Patrol Squadron 30 VP-30 at NAS Jacksonville, Florida. Several active duty P-3C squadrons, the Naval Air Reserve P-3C Squadron, and Commerce-Patwing PAC/Compatwing 4 were also deactivated, while Compatwing SPAC and Compatwing 10 redesignated Compatriconwing 10 transferred to NAS Whidbey Island, Washington, and the remaining patrol squadrons transferred to NAS Whidbey Island. On 1 July 1994, NAS Moffett Field was closed as a naval air station and turned over to the NASA Ames Research Center. NASA Ames now operates the facility as Moffett Federal Airfield. Since being decommissioned as a primary military installation, part of Moffett has been made accessible to the public, including a cordoned portion of the interior of the massive Hangar One. There were once balloon rides given on show days and incidents of weather inside. Moffett Federal Airfield has occasional air traffic, with an average of 5 minutes 10 flights landing per day. Moffett is regularly used by the California Air National Guard, NASA, Lockheed Martin Space Systems commercial satellite manufacturer, the Google founders for their private planes, the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department for their helicopter Star One, and Air Force One during presidential visits to the Bay Area. In 2008, the Ames Research Center leased 42 acres around the field to Google. In 2013, Google began building a 1.1 million square foot office complex consisting of 9 buildings overlooking San Francisco Bay, dubbed Bayview. The buildings are to be the new headquarters for Google and will be part of the nearby Googleplex. Hangar One. Moffett Field's Hangar One, built during the Depression era for the USS Macon and the row of World War Roman II blimp hangars, are still some of the largest unsupported structures in the country. The airship hangar is constructed on a network of steel girders sheathed with galvanized steel. It rests firmly upon a reinforced pad anchored to concrete pilings. The floor covers 8 acres 32,002 and can accommodate 6 360 feet x 150 feet football fields. The airship hangar itself measures 1133 feet 345 m long and 308 feet 94 m wide. The building has aerodynamic architecture. Its walls curve upward and inward to form an elongated dome 198 feet 60 m high. The clamshell doors were designed to reduce turbulence when the Macon moved in and out on windy days. The orange peel doors, weighing 500 tons, 511.88 tons each, are moved by their own 150 horsepower motors operated via an electrical control panel. The airship hangar's interior is so large that fog sometimes forms near the ceiling. A person unaccustomed to its vastness is susceptible to optical disorientation. Looking across its deck, planes and tractors look like toys. Along its length, maintenance shops, inspection laboratories, and offices help keep the hangar busy. Looking up, a network of catwalks for access to all parts of the structure can be seen. 2 elevators meet near the top, allowing maintenance personnel to get to the top quickly and easily. Narrow-gauge tracks run through the length of the hangar. During the period of lighter-than-air dirigibles and non-rigid aircraft, the rails extended across the apron and into the fields at each end of the hangar. This tramway facilitated the transportation of an airship on the mooring mast to the airship hangar interior or to the flight position. During the brief period that the Macon was based at Moffett, Hangar One accommodated not only the giant airship, but several smaller non-rigid lighter-than-air craft simultaneously. In 2003, plans to convert Hangar One to a space and science center were put on hold with the discovery that the structure was leaking toxic chemicals into the sediment in wetlands bordering San Francisco Bay. The chemicals originated in the lead paint and toxic materials, including polychlorinated biphenyls (PCB), used to coat the hangar. Options under debate included tearing down the hangar and reusing the land, and cleaning the toxic waste from the site and refurbishing the hangar for future preservation. The U.S. Navy evaluated options for remediating the PCB, lead, and asbestos, and NASA evaluated options for reuse of the hangar. Some historic and nonprofit groups wanted the hangar preserved as a historic landmark, as the hangar is a major Bay Area landmark and historic site. In 2006, an offer to clean the hangar and coat its outsides with solar panels to recoup the costs of cleaning was floated by a private company, but the plan never saw fruition because it was too costly. In August 2008, the Navy proposed simply stripping the toxic coating from the hangar and leaving the skeleton after spraying it with a preservative. The Navy claimed that to reclad the structure would cost another $15 million, and that this was NASA's responsibility. This was regarded as a partial victory by campaigners. In September 2008, NASA indicated that it was still urging the Navy to restore the hangar, but that it was willing to help save the structure. In particular, NASA was in favor of recovering the structure at the same time that it was stripped. In April 2011, the exterior panels began coming down, starting at the top. Restoration. On April 21, 2011, crews began stripping the PCB-laced exterior panels of Hangar One. In November 2014, Planetary Ventures LLC, a Google subsidiary, signed a $1.16 billion, 60-year lease. This would save NASA approximately $6.03 million annually in maintenance and operation costs. Google planned to invest an additional $200 million to renovate and restore the structure. Hangars 2 and 3. Moffett Field's Hangars 2 and 3 were built at the beginning of World War II for a program of coastal defense. The hangars are still some of the largest unsupported wooden structures in the country. In 1940, the U.S. Navy proposed to the U.S. Congress the development of a lighter-than-air station program. This program proposed the construction of new stations in addition to the expansion at NAS Lakehurst. The original contract was for steel hangars, 960 feet 290 m long, 328 feet 100 m wide, and 190 feet 58 m helium storage and service, barracks for 228 men, a power plant, landing mat, and a mobile mooring mast. The Second Deficiency Appropriation Bill for 1941, passed July 3, 1941, changed the authorization to the construction of 8 facilities to accommodate a total of 48 airships as requested in 1940, but due to steel rations, a total of 17 large wooden hangars were built among 10 LTA bases. As finally developed in 1943, LTA facilities in addition to NAS Lakehurst 2 and NAS Moffett Field 2 included NAS South Weymouth 1, NAS Weeksville 1, NAS Glencoe 2, NAS Richmond 3, NAS Huma 1, NAS Hitchcock 1, NAS Santa Ana 2, and NAS Tillamook 2. In the initial program, accommodations were provided for 6 airships at each station. This was later increased to 12 at 7 of the stations and to 18 at NAS Richmond as a result of an increase in the authorized strength to 200 airships. 7 of the original 17 of the wooden hangars still exist: Moffett Field 2, Tustin, California 2, Tillamook, Oregon 1, and Lakehurst, New Jersey 2. An episode of the Discovery Channel TV show Mythbusters used one of the hangars. The sheet of paper covered nearly the full width of the airship hangar. Other Mythbusters episodes have utilized the hangar to test myths such as inflating a football with helium allows longer kick distances and airworthy aircraft can be constructed of concrete. Facilities. Despite its closure as an active military base, Moffett Field still has many active facilities and residents. Active military families still live on Moffett Community Housing, and the former base has several lodges which primarily house academics and students associated with the Ames Research Center. Moffett Field's facilities available to residents include a commissary, post office, golf course, and tennis courts. Status of former military buildings. Many of the buildings at Moffett Field, which once supported its active military presence, have been abandoned and left standing due to asbestos contamination within the structures. Airfield. Moffett Field is an active airfield and has two active runways. Runway 14L/32R 9000, 197 FTX 200 FT2803 MX 61M surface, concrete. Runway 14R/32L 8000, 122 FTX 200 FT2476 MX 61M surface, asphalt. University facilities. Moffett Field also hosts three university branch campuses: San Jose State University's SJSU Metropolitan Technology Center, Carnegie Mellon Silicon Valley, UC Santa Cruz, and Singularity University. These are within the base primarily to support the academic and research collaboration between these institutions and NASA Ames. Private aircraft. Moffett Airfield is home to H211 LLC, owned by Google founders Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Through the LLC, they pay $1.03 million a year to NASA to park their Boeing 767-200 and Gulfstream V jets. The airplanes have also had scientific equipment installed by NASA to allow for experiments to be run in flight. Lockheed Martin and John Stark, a helicopter operator, also have use of the airfield. In October 2008, the first Zeppelin airship to offer private flights in the United States since 1937's Hindenburg disaster became available for tours of the Bay Area and beyond. The 246-foot 75M craft, operated by Airship Ventures, was housed in Hangar 2, was built in Germany, and was the fourth modern airship constructed and the third to be put in public service. It was dedicated and given the name Eureka at the celebration of Moffett Field's 75th anniversary. Zeppelin flights ended in November 2012, and Airship Ventures ceased business. Eureka was disassembled and returned to Germany. Strong community opposition to the use of the airfield by FedEx Express and UPS Airlines blocked the transition of the airfield to public use in the 1990s. United States Geological Survey USGS. In 2016, the United States Geological Survey USGS announced plans to relocate its West Coast Science Center from nearby Menlo Park to the Ames Research Center at Moffett Field. The relocation is expected to take 5 years and will begin in 2017, with 175 of the USGS employees moving to Moffett. Motor racing. On August 16, 1953, the airfield was used for a meeting organized by the Sports Car Club of America. A 5.6 km circuit was created using one of the main runways and adjacent taxiways. Assigned units: 129th Rescue Wing, California Air National Guard, 63rd Regional Readiness Command Headquarters, United States Army Reserve. 7th Psychological Operations Group Headquarters, United States Army Reserve. 341st Military Police Company Combat Support, U.S. Army Reserve. 341st MPCO, U.S. Army Reserve. 351st Civil Affairs Command, U.S. Army Reserve. Marine Corps Recruiting Station San Francisco, Marine Corps Recruiting Command. Accidents and incidents at or near KNUQ. On April 11, 1968, a Royal Australian Air Force Lockheed P-3C Orion burst into flames when the undercarriage collapsed on landing during pre-delivery acceptance trials. There were no fatalities. On May 26, 1972, a United States Navy Lockheed P-3C Orion went missing during a routine training flight off the coast of California. All 8 crew were presumed dead. On April 12, 1973, a NASA Convair CV-990 Coronado Reg. #711NA on a nearby training flight, and a U.S. Navy Lockheed P-3C Orion Reg. #157332 also on a nearby training flight collided on final approach 1. All 11 occupants on the Convair 990 Coronado and 5 of the 6 crew on board the Lockheed P-3C were killed in the accident. A total of 16 perished on both aircraft, with one survivor.